Good morning, and we are going to get started this morning with our presentation. I'm going to let all the participants join in and get ready to hear our presentation from Ms. Rizzo. It is 10 o'clock, so we're going to wait maybe a couple of minutes to get more participants, and then we can get started.
Nisha, how many people do we have?
We have 15.
Okay, very good. I also have a wonderful handout that I can email to you. Do you have everybody's emails addresses then?
Yes, ma'am.
Because I can email that attachment to you and maybe you could send it out if they want it.
Yep, I'll send the presentation out after this.
Okay.
Good morning. Welcome to our presentation. We're going to wait for more participants to enter, and then we'll get started shortly.
Wait till I tell my husband, Nisha, your good news. And my son, Dominic, is going to flip out. That's just awesome.
He's so excited. Yeah. He had a visit to MSU and took a picture with the coach, and he's excited. I'm like, do what you're supposed to do now, and get your grades together and stay healthy and be a good person.
Yeah. And, keep your nose clean, as they used to say,
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Welcome. We are going to get started shortly with our presentation. We're waiting another couple of minutes to have more folks enter the presentation, and then we'll get started in a minute. So we're going to give it another 2 minutes, and we'll start at 10:05.
Okay.
Thank you guys for joining us on this cold, breezy day here in Michigan. We're going to get started shortly. We're just waiting for a couple more folks to join us this morning. All right, we're going to get started, and then we're just going to go ahead and get started. So, good morning to everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning. We appreciate you getting out of bed early and listening to our presentation on how to reduce holiday stress. Today, before we get started, I just want to let everyone know that the presentation will be recorded. I'm going to go over a couple of things, that this is a webinar. We're going to have you leave your questions in the chat, and after the presentation is over, then we're going to read your questions aloud, and Dana will graciously answer them. If you have any problems or have any technical problems, you can always give us a call here at the Turner Center. The number is 734-998-9353. And I'm going to turn things over to Ms. Rizzo and let her introduce herself, and we can get started.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. I'm so glad that you're here and that we are going to be sharing information on how to have fun during the holidays and how to reduce holiday stress. I am Dana Rizzo. I'm a registered nurse, and I have been teaching systematic stress management for probably over 40 years. And as a registered nurse in the critical care unit and intensive care unit, I have worked with patients that were dealing with crisis and families, and stress management was a big part of helping them cope. And in addition to that, I represent Walton Wood retirement communities, and Walton Wood senior centers are located throughout Michigan, and we're also located in Virginia and North Carolina. Thank you so much. So it's Dana Rizzo, and here we go. How to reduce holiday stress. Well, we have to really start with some of the history of stress. And we know that what is stress? There's so many different definitions. They really haven't done a good job of narrowing it down. But we do know that people and philosophers as way back, hundreds of years, noticed that people were stressed out and what the symptoms of stress brought on. And I know it was Epictetus who said, people are not disturbed by a thing, but by their perception of the thing. It's what we tell ourselves that actually triggers the stress response. We know that people have different ideas with respect to the definition of stress. Stress is unique to every single person. The definition of stress that is the most common is that it is physical, mental, or emotional strain or tension. Another popular definition of stress is that it's a condition or feeling experienced when a person perceives that the demands that are being placed on them exceed their personal and social resources, and it's making it difficult for that individual to be able to mobilize and get, being able to do things. It's that feeling of being overextended. Now, we know that there's different types of stress. There's acute stress, chronic stress, and eustress. So in acute stress, this is a fight or flight response, and the body prepares itself by raising adrenaline in our bodies when we are faced with a stressful situation, and we have no control over it. It involves the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland, and it's the adrenal axis stimulation that turns on the sympathetic nervous system, which results in this flood of adrenaline. The adrenaline is released actually from the adrenal glands that sit right above the kidneys. And it just happens. We feel stress, and this whole internal biochemical response starts. And it takes about 90 minutes for our metabolisms to return to normal when the acute stress response is over. Symptoms of an acute stress response is that suddenly our mouth goes dry, we have a racing heartbeat, elevated blood pressure, we're breathing faster, we're sweating, and our pupils dilate. And an acute stress response is turned on, for instance, when you have an auto accident, when you get mugged, when you perceive that you're in danger. Or it could be something as simple as going to a business meeting and knowing that the players are not going to be cordial. Okay, so this is acute stress, and it takes our bodies 90 minutes to return to normal. Now, in chronic stress, which is the second type of stress, chronic stress is the type of stress that we live with every single day. It's always there. It's the cost of living. It's the worrying about your kids. It's bills. It's inflation. It's the rising gas prices. And this is the stress, the chronic stress that we push down and we tend to ignore, and we just go about our business. But if chronic stress is left uncontrolled, this stress will affect your health, your body, and your immune system. And that's the danger, is that it truly affects your immune system, making you more susceptible to the flu, the common cold, COVID, anything that's out there. It can contribute to chronic inflammation in your body, which can affect all body systems, including your joints, your brain, your heart, your blood vessels, and your gut. And we know that chronic inflammation is the foundation for over 66 diagnoses, including hypertension, heart disease, diabetes, osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, the list goes on and on. And so chronic inflammation is the thing that we want to learn to control, as well as acute stress response. Now, the third type of stress is called eustress, and this is healthy stress. This is what we live with every single day. This is the good stress. It raises our productivity. It's like winning a race or getting a passionate kiss. And eustress, excuse me, is in our daily lives, and it has very positive connotations, such as, when we get married, when we get a promotion, when we have a new baby in the family, winning money, gaining new friends that are positive, and graduation. So eustress is what keeps us going, keeps us motivated, keeps us happy. And in life, you have to have stress. If you don't have stress in life, it would be like going to a party and being in a closet all night long, all by yourself. Eustress is the good stress, and we want that. We really want that. Now, distress is like chronic stress. Distress has negative connotations. It activates the fight and flight response quickly, and it creates a huge biochemical response where it starts at the pituitary and sympathetic nervous system, and it goes all the way to the adrenal glands on top of the kidneys, and that secretes the adrenaline, which creates all of the symptoms that we experience. Examples of distress are divorce, punishment, injuries, negative feelings, financial worries, and problems at work. Now, the best model and definition for stress is this. This is called biopsychosocial. Bio meaning your physical, psycho meaning your brain, and social meaning your behavior, your personality. So it's affecting your body, your mind, and your behavior, your social skills. So the biopsychosocial model of stress has three components. This definition of stress distinguishes between the external element, the internal element, and the third component represents the interaction between the external and the internal and what we get. Now, the external component is made up of the elements in the external environment, such as traffic, delays, or death of a friend. The internal component is made up of the physiological and biochemical factors in the internal body, like what traits, genetic traits did we get? How do we respond to stress? What are our lifestyle choices that we make? What are our specific behaviors? So some people, when they're under stress, they immediately go into a panic attack. Some lifestyle choices internally are that people immediately respond and start smoking a cigarette or marijuana, or they start drinking alcohol. Some specific behaviors are that people may decide, oh, I've got all this stress, I'm going to start punching walls, or I'm going to start getting angry and having a short fuse with my family and friends. So external component, internal component, and this interaction between the two is what we recognize as our stress signals. Now, stress signals, and during the holiday season, we get lots of stress signals. A lot of us have unwelcomed guests that can add to our stress. And a lot of times, if stress goes undiagnosed and untreated, it can develop into anxiety and depression. But with holidays come more and more demands. We're cooking more meals. We are shopping more. We're spending more money. It involves a lot of baking, a lot of extra cleaning, and entertaining people. And if you have guests in your home, there's a whole lot more cleaning and entertaining. You want to add, if the coronavirus is spreading in your community, that will also give you additional stress. You may also be very worried about your health and your loved one's health during the holidays. Now, a change in holiday plans can also cause stress, but there's some very practical tips to help. When stress is at its peak, it's a very hard time to regroup. Try to prevent stress and depression in the first place. Be aware of what your body is telling you, especially if you know that the holidays have taken an emotional toll on you in the past. Listen to your bodies and let's plan ahead. For instance, I had my father-in-law's dad died of suicide at Christmas time. And every time Christmas rolled around, my father-in-law would become extremely stressed. He was lashing out at people. He was depressed. He was anxious. And finally, we sat down and he confided in me that Christmas brought all these negative thoughts to him. And so we really had to talk through that and get past that. And then he was able to enjoy holidays, Christmas and holidays with his new grandchildren. But it really took a tremendous emotional toll. And he had no insight that that was the foundation of all of the stress that he was under. And here in this picture, you see two lovely people that are looking at their friends and communicating with their friends through a sliding glass door. And this was during COVID, that they were having conversations and meeting each other. Now, the best way to prevent holiday stress and depression is to be aware of your body. What is it telling you? Are these some of the symptoms? Do you feel out of control? Do you feel constant pressure? Do you have difficulty concentrating? Do you have feelings of helplessness, anxiety, panic, or depression? Are you having trouble falling asleep, or do you wake up frequently during the night? Do you suffer from frequent headaches? Have you experienced a significant loss or an increase in appetite? Do you feel unusually tired? Do you cry or feel like the desire to cry often? Do you feel faint or dizzy for no apparent reason? Do you experience nausea? Do you experience shortness of breath or a feeling of tightness in your chest without exertion? Do you regularly feel the need to smoke or have a drink to relax? So acknowledge your feelings and listen to your body. Be aware that if someone close to you has recently died, or if you can't be with loved ones for other reasons, realize that it is a normal reaction to feel sadness and grief. And it's okay to take the time to cry or express your feelings. You cannot force yourself to be happy just because it's the holiday season. Some tips are, you want to reach out. If you feel lonely or isolated, seek out community, religious, or other social events in the communities. Go to websites, use online support groups, social media sites, or virtual events. They can offer support and companionship. A friend of mine just told me this week that they normally got together, but as they're approaching their late 70s, it's difficult for them to travel to each other's state or to have this big reunion. So once a month, all of her high school buddies and college buddies get together and they Skype. And they each have, a glass of wine in the evening, and they'll Skype for 1 to 2 hours, catching up on each other's grandchildren, events, spouses, partners, you name it. And that's what they do. They Skype because it's difficult for them all to travel now. So if you are feeling stressed during the holidays, it may also help to talk with a friend or a family member about your concerns. Try to reach out with a text, a call, or a video chat. And that was kind of one of the things I really had to do with my father-in-law. And for several patients as well. You need to recognize that volunteering your time or doing something special to help others is also a very good way to lift your spirits and broaden your friendships. I know that my husband and I volunteer at our church, and we are once a month. I offer we have a social time at the end of Mass, and I bring in all of the baked goods for about 100 people, and we provide coffee, apple juice for the kids, and hot tea. And we all sit around and we all talk after Mass and connect. And my husband and I have made brand new friends doing that. And it's only a once a month commitment. And my husband helps me the whole time. You want to also consider dropping off a meal or a dessert at a friend's home during the holidays, someone that you think may really be missing a spouse. They are all alone. Maybe their kids can't visit. And these are some of the things that we do. My husband is retired. I am not. And every Wednesday, we have 3 neighbors that were all widowed within the last 2 years. And every Wednesday night, and one of them is a retired pilot who has MS, and he survived his wife. And he is on a scooter. And it's just wonderful because he doesn't have access into everybody else's homes because of steps. So what my husband does, Charlie, is he buys a pizza, and they do Wednesday night pizza. So on Wednesday nights, I usually have a class to teach, but my husband will buy a pizza, and all 3 of them will come to the driveway, and they all have chairs, and they all sit there and they'll eat pizza and they'll drink whatever they want, whether it's a gin and tonic or whether it's a beer or just ice cold water. But it's the camaraderie, and it's that friendship. And these are 3 neighbors that were very socially isolated after their loved ones died. So my husband has really helped them and brought them out of the homes, and they're having fun again. You want to, tips continued, you want to be realistic. The holidays do not have to be perfect or just like last year. As families change and grow, traditions and rituals change as well. For instance, as kids get married, you have to start sharing them with the in-laws. So I know that my kids alternate holidays. So I'll have my kids for Thanksgiving, but for Christmas, the winter holiday, my daughter's going to Texas with her husband's family. My son, I'll get to see on Christmas Day, but not on Christmas Eve because he's with his in-laws. So these few traditions that we do that are very important, we really want to hold on to. And we want to be open to creating new ones. Remember, new ideas, new routines actually stimulate us and keep us active and engaged. So if your adult children or other relatives cannot come to your home, find new ways to celebrate together, such as sharing pictures. Here they're Skyping. So it looks like Thanksgiving, not everybody could be with them. So they're Skyping with each other, sharing pictures, emails, and even videos. It's wonderful that we have all this technology. We can meet virtually on a video call. Even though your holiday plans might look differently this year, we can always find ways to celebrate. And that's what I'll be doing with my daughter from Texas. Set aside differences is another tip. You want to try to accept family members and friends as they are. If they do not live up to all of your expectations, lower your expectations. You want to set aside grievances until a more appropriate time for discussion. And be understanding if others get upset or if they get distressed when something goes awry. Chances are they are feeling holiday stress and depression too, and they also might feel and be very aware of the fact that in the past they haven't completely fit in. And so lower your expectations, set aside grievances. It's only 1 or 2 days that the holidays come every year. Stick to a budget. I've heard over the course of many years, people say, oh, I love the holidays, but I really extend myself on gifts and food shopping and entertainment. And then after the holidays, I'm stuck with this huge bill that gives me so much stress. Try to stick to your budget. Do not try to buy happiness or affection with an avalanche of gifts. Try these alternatives instead. Donate to a charity in someone's name. Give homemade gifts. Start a family gift exchange. We have a neighbor that makes the most wonderful jam and marmalades, and she gives everybody a little container of homemade marmalade every year, and I look forward to it because it's so outstanding. And start a family gift exchange. If the family keeps growing and growing and growing, it's very difficult to afford gifts for 10 children. Instead, draw names and do a gift exchange. Plan ahead. Set aside specific days for shopping, baking, and connecting with your friends and other activities. Consider whether you can shop online for any of the items that you might need. Plan your menus and then make a shopping list. And that will prevent you from having to forget things and you have to go back and forth to the grocery store at the last minute. Make sure to line up help for meal prep and cleanup. And this is so important. I have a friend who is recovering from cancer, but a big positive in her life is to entertain. And she just had an Oktoberfest dinner. And she actually hired a friend who needed money, a neighbor, and she hired this neighbor who has a young family to come over in the evening when she had her dinner party. And this person helped clean up after the event. She helped to heat up food and put it on the table. She helped set the table. And it was just wonderful. My friend who's recovering from the cancer was able to sit there and really enjoy all of her guests. And it was, she does this just a couple of times a year. And it's something that she has built into the cost of the meal and just really enjoys herself. Number 7 tip, learn to say no. Saying yes when you should say no can leave you with feelings of resentment and being overwhelmed. And people often say, I just want to kick myself. And that's not good either, having those self-conversations where you want to punish yourself. Instead, if friends and colleagues, if you have to say no to them, that you cannot participate in a project or an activity around the holidays, they'll understand. If it is not possible to say no, perhaps it's your boss who's asking you to work overtime or come to the staff party that's mandatory. Try to remove something else from your agenda to make up for the lost time. I know that I had to have that conversation with my boss. where they wanted me to come to an event that was going to be 6 to 9 p.m. at night. So in order to get back that time, I said, I'm happy to come. However, I want to come in late in the morning so I can get done what I have to do to prepare for the holiday meal with my family. So I did my food shopping. I switched my schedule and I did all my food shopping in the morning and got things together. And that was a good trade-off for me. Do not abandon healthy habits. One of the first things that we do around the holidays is that it becomes like a free-for-all for eating and overindulgence. And this just adds a lot to our stress and guilt. You want to try these suggestions. Eat a healthy snack before the holiday meal so you do not go overboard on sweets, on cheese, or on drinks. Eat healthy meals. Get plenty of sleep. 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night is required. Include your regular physical activity in your daily routine. I had an aunt that after Thanksgiving Day meals, she was a very tiny person. She would say, okay, everybody, let's go for a walk. We've got to get rid of all these calories. And we would go literally for a 2-mile walk. And it was great. And then we'd come back. We were all relaxed. It was stress management for us. We had actually digested better and we used up some of those excess calories. And then we had all this energy to clean up the kitchen together. So you want to also try deep breathing exercises, meditation, and yoga. You want to avoid excessive tobacco, secondhand smoke, avoid alcohol, and avoid drug use. And this is really important because around the holidays, when you have guests, you do have Uncle Joe who still smokes. You have Uncle Joshua who likes his gin and tonics. And it's important to really limit your intake and your exposure to secondhand smoke. Have rules. All smokers have to go outside to smoke. Be aware of how the information culture can produce undue stress. Limit reading the newspaper, limit watching the TV news, and limit social media. They always tell you to stop watching TV or computer games or anything with a blue screen up to 2 hours before going to bed, because it also stimulates you and impacts your brain. It puts too much information in your brain. All that visual stimulation can create a big stress response. So be very careful about watching the news, watching the TV and news and social media. Take a breather. Take some time for yourself. Find an activity that you enjoy and take a break all by yourself. Spend just 15 minutes alone without distractions to refresh yourself so that you feel like you can handle everything you need to do. And the other thing is that a lot of times when all these people are around you, you get a little overwhelmed. You get to the point where you say, I need a breather. Just go to your bedroom, go somewhere where you can sit comfortably like this lady is doing and just do some of the deep breathing exercises that I'll be showing you. Some options also include, like my aunt used to say, let's take a breather, let's go for a walk, and take a walk at night and do stargazing. Listen to soothing music. Try reading a book. Find a quiet place just to take deep breaths. One of my aunts was a psychologist, and you know what she did? If she felt that, the 30 guests that she had at her house for Thanksgiving was too much, she would start to put on very soothing music in the background, very soothing music. And some of it was meditation music, but you'd be surprised how even the children responded to that music. Everything quieted down. The conversations got quieter. The children got quieter. And a couple of relatives even fell asleep at the table. So, soothing music really has its purpose. Seek professional help if you need it. Despite our very best efforts, you may find yourself feeling persistently sad, anxious, plagued by physical complaints, unable to sleep, irritable, hopeless, and unable to face routine chores. This was really this just described everything my father-in-law experienced and a lot of my patients. So if these feelings have lasted for a while, you really need to talk to a doctor or a mental health professional like a social worker so that you can begin to feel better. And my father-in-law, even though I suggested, going to a psychiatrist to kind of work through all of these feelings, he refused. He says, I will not go to a psychologist or psychiatrist. He says, I'll talk to you. And I did get him to talk with a mental health professional. It was a friend of mine who was a social worker, and she was invited over for lunch one day, and she engaged him, and he shared a lot of the same information, never knowing she was a social worker. But it really, truly helped him. And here he was in his 70s at the time. But I can tell you from 70 to age 94, that was something that really, that level of stress was really off his back. And those persistent sad images really helped him. Now, stress busters, we know deep breathing, and we also want to practice self-care, meaning get your sleep 7 to 9 hours a night, go for exercise, walk every day, eliminate soda, which has caffeine and excess sugar. You want to trim fat from your budget, stay on a budget, plan a day trip, go to bed early, wake up 15 minutes early, just give yourself that 15 minutes maybe to eat a healthy breakfast. Get your lavender oil on. Lavender oil is known to stimulate sleep, just like citrus oils are known to wake you up and perk you up. So I use lavender oil at night, and I'll rub my hands with it, and sometimes I'll pat my pillow. It puts me right out. But in the morning, I use a citrus body wash, and it smells like oranges and lemons and grapefruit. And boy, does that ever stimulate me. You want to reduce caffeine, sugar, and processed foods. You want to try drinking green juice. And here's the recipe. It's a green juice is either 1 banana or green apple. I like Granny Smith apples, 1 bunch of kale, a slice of ginger, 1 lime, a cucumber slice, ice cubes, and 1 cup of water, and blend it all up. This green juice really boosts your immune system, and it helps to give you some relaxation, and that comes from ginger. Ginger also helps to reduce inflammation. So, and kale boosts the immune system, gives you iron and energy. The banana and green apple give you potassium and give you lots of vitamin C. So does the lime. The cucumber slice is just giving you a refreshing taste. But all of this is called the green juice. And it is just wonderful to blend up and to give yourself a special treat. Some stress busters are, remember that your feelings are not facts. Sometimes we have an internal recorder that keeps saying, oh, I know they don't like me. Oh, I know that they still hate me. Oh, I know that they're going to say this, this, and this when they come to the house. Those are your feelings. Those are not the facts. And when you hear negative thoughts like that, one of the best things you can do is to put a rubber band on your wrist and snap it. And that will blast the thought out of your mind, okay, out of your thought processes. Just snap it and then take some deep natural breaths. But you want to get rid of those negative thoughts and those negative beliefs. Challenge them. And if you hear that internal recorder going off and it's kind of like a mantra, it just keeps going. Oh, I know they don't like me. Oh, I know they don't like me. I know they like. Just challenge it and say, they do like me. We had a rough time at the beginning, but we've worked through that. It's going to be fun today. Practice gratitude. Look for things every day to be happy about. Get some accountability. Okay. Own what belongs to you and disregard everything else. You want to also attend a virtual social gathering, even if you do not want to. And they have virtual social gatherings like sit to stand, chair exercises, all kinds of quick 10 to 15 minute workouts that will really help you. You want to schedule a physical exam to rule out a medical condition for your feelings of stress and anxiety, because you want to make sure that this chronic stress is not damaging your heart and your joints and blood hypertension, diabetes, all of that. Schedule a visit with a therapist if you feel you need it. You might even go and see a self-care physical therapist who can help you get on an exercise routine. Remember to exercise, exercise, and exercise. When we exercise or just go for a nice walk, you'll find that you're deep breathing as you walk, which relaxes all the muscles. Then you're using up all the adrenaline that may have been pouring out. So exercise will lower your A1C, it lowers your blood pressure, it's going to lower your blood sugar, and in the long run, it's going to may strengthen your heart, your muscles, your cartilage, your ligaments, and your lungs. Accept stress, accept your stress. You have to work every day to bring calm to your life. Now, stress management techniques, and this we are going to have in a copy to give to you. Remove yourself from stressful situations. If you find someone annoying you at the kitchen table or the dining room table over the holidays, remove yourself from the stressful situation. If there's someone in the kitchen with you, I used to have a friend that would come into the kitchen, and she was a guest in my home, and she would tell me how to prepare everything that I was doing, how to prep the turkey, how to alter the turkey stuffing, everything. And I remember that I used to say to her, I give her an activity to do. I said, oh, Karen, I'm so glad you're here to help me. Here's the water pitcher. Please go fill up all the glasses. Karen, here's the orange or the lemon. I'd like you to slice it to put one in each glass. It was wonderful. It stopped her from giving me all this unwanted advice and kept her busy. And I still have her as a friend today after 40 years. You want to remember breathing techniques, muscle relaxation techniques, visualization, stretching techniques, mindfulness techniques, and you want to develop a stress resilient attitude and beliefs. Attitudes and beliefs are really important because it's what we tell ourselves that makes a situation good or bad. Okay, so you want to promote optimistic thinking with these strategies. View setbacks as just temporary. Okay, just temporary. I often say, well, like one Thanksgiving, I forgot to turn the turkey the right side. It was upside down. And I said, oh, there's actually recipes that call for that. This is no big deal. It'll be fine. Actually, it was better. So it was a temporary setback. The turkey was still edible. Avoid generalizing a problem to your whole life. I could have said, oh, my turkey's going to be terrible. Nobody's going to ever want to come back. It's just terrible. I can't even make a turkey right. But instead, I just laughed it off. Of course, Karen would have to be in the kitchen with me when I had the turkey in the wrong direction. But as a rule, it was one incident, and Karen and I laugh about it today. Don't dismiss positive events as just due to good luck. I always say every positive event has an impact on my life, and I'm going to hold on to it. It's not luck. It's just something that has happened, and I'm going to grab it and use it. Avoid blaming yourself for things beyond your control. I was involved in an auto accident, and the person rear-ended me. And I remember thinking, oh, I'm going to miss my plane. I'm not going to be able to get home on time. And it's just terrible that this thing happened to me. And I was sort of blaming myself. Like if I had left 40 minutes early, or I would never have been on the road at this time during traffic. And, that was beyond my control. This guy was speeding and going in and out of traffic, and he hit me doing 80 miles an hour. I couldn't control it. I was grateful that I wasn't hurt. You want to practice an attitude of gratitude by focusing on what you have and the positive events from day to day. We can all find many positives in the course of the day, but we have to look for them. View number 2, a tip for stress resilient attitudes and beliefs. View change in your life as normal. It's constant and a challenge instead of a threat. Change is stimulating, it's healthy, and it's essential for growth and personal development. You want to develop the attitude that people need people, just like the song. Substantial evidence and research indicates that people with adequate social support, defined by having family, friends, community contacts, social or religious organizations, and even a pet, manage stress better every single day. And that's important to remember. In fact, people that own pets often have longer longevity. Don't expect perfection or that others should always meet your expectations. When perfectionism isn't achieved or the behavior of others does not live up to our expectations, we often get angry or frustrated. Be realistic and modify those expectations, lower them, and don't expect perfectionism, because perfectionism is very boring. And there are some jobs that we have that require perfectionism and others that do not. And these are some of the things, messages I even taught my children, and I'll teach my grandchildren as well. There are some activities that we have to do perfectly well, but there's other activities we sure don't have to. And it's important to remember that in the people around you as well. Remember that empathy and forgiveness reduces stress. If you follow basic religious and spiritual teachings by forgiving when you feel you have been wronged, and remember to treat others as you would have them treat you, you will sleep better, you will be happier, and you will be healthier. And this is something that I really had to work on, because in my family, we're Italian Americans, they tend to hold on to hurt feelings for years. I'm going to say almost centuries. So this was something I really had to work on. Instead of going to bed angry, put anger in perspective by asking yourself how important an anger producing situation would be if I only had a week to live. And ask yourself what difference that situation will make in your life next week, next month, or next year. Most of us will say it'll mean nothing. So just let it go. Now, taking control of the holidays. Don't let the holidays become something you dread. Instead, take these steps to prevent the stress and depression that can descend during the holidays. Learn to recognize your holiday triggers, such as financial pressures or personal demands, so you can combat them before they lead to meltdown. With a little planning and some positive thinking, you can find peace and joy during your holidays. Now, let me review some things with you here. Oh, I'm sorry. Previous. Okay. Now, I want to go back. These are just some of the beautiful Walton Wood communities that we have. Now, here we have, overcoming loneliness. You can overcome loneliness by staying connected, being creative, and make a friend. And be creative. If there's something that you've always wanted to do, give it a try. I'm going to go to a cooking class, and I love that, and a gardening class. Another thing that we can try to do is recognize signs of depression. We know that 1 out of 15 people over the age of 65 suffer from depression. 1 out of 15. Only 10% of these people 65 and over get help. Only 1. So sad. So common symptoms of depression in seniors, it's all the things that we discussed. So you need to talk to someone about it. In summary, how do you beat the holiday blues? Get some exercise, set limits to your commitments, visit with friends, even if it's just virtually. Focus on the true blessings of the season. Minimize alcohol consumption. Alcohol is a depressant. Make sure you're eating and drinking enough water. We need 8 to 10 glasses of water a day. Stay really hydrated because your kidneys will love you and your body. And you want to get enough sleep, 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And remember, chipping in and helping everybody will really relieve the stress for everybody around you as well. Now, there's some deep breathing exercises that we're going to try right now. The first one is called breathing techniques. So everybody, if you can, normally breathing is an unconscious exercise activity that we do. But when under pressure, people tend to breathe quicker and more shallow. And because they breathe very shallow, they're not delivering enough oxygen to their muscles. So their muscles get very tense. And a lot of us are very aware. For me, my stress response always occurs in my neck. My neck gets very stiff. And also my joints start to hurt. So deep breathing really helps for me. This technique requires you to stop what you're doing right now. You can lower the lights if you want in your environment, in your home, and put one hand on your abdomen and one hand on your chest. And what you're going to do is you're going to close your eyes and take a couple of deep conscious breaths. We're going to do it 3 times. Now, what I want you to do is when we're doing a shallow breathing during stress, only your hand on your chest moves. But if you're taking deep breaths, the hand on your abdomen should be moving, on your tummy. So I want you to close your eyes and I want you to breathe in through your nose, hold it for 3 seconds and I will count. And you're going to blow out very slowly through pursed lips like that, because that's going to force the oxygen deeper into the lungs and into the muscles. So here we go. Take a deep breath, close your eyes, and here we go. Deep breath through the nose. Hold it. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Nice and slowly. Take another deep breath through your nose. Hold it. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Third time. Excellent. It takes 3 deep breaths to release the endorphins, which are the morphine-like substances in your brain that will give you that sense of relaxation and a little high, you'll feel uplifted. Now, another technique that we do is called relaxation techniques. And relaxation techniques are wonderful for the muscles. When you're under stress, typically you tense your muscles, causing eventual pain and fatigue. That's why we often feel very tired after we've been so stressed. I want you to place both of your feet on the floor, sit in a very comfortable chair. Your legs have to be apart at hip width. Place your hands on your thighs, palms down. Another position is that you can do this lying down on a firm surface. Let's close our eyes and take a couple of deep breaths, just as I taught you. Breathe in through the nose, hold it, and breathe out through the lips. Now, tense all of the muscles in your face, your head, and your neck. Hold and release. Go like this, grimace. Tight, 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 tight. Release. And take a deep breath. Now we're going to the second muscle group. Tense all of the muscles in your right hand, your arm, and your muscle. Make a fist. Flex your arm. Make it tight, 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 tight. Release. Take a deep breath. Now, tense all of the muscles in your left hand. Tight, 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 tight. Relax. Release. Take a deep breath in your nose. Hold it. Now we're going to constrict all of the muscles in our left hand, arm, and shoulder. I'm sorry. Now we're going to tighten all the muscles in our chest, our back, and our abdomen. And the way to do that is suck in your stomach and push your stomach all the way to the back of the seat. And you want to hold it, throw your chest back, straighten up your shoulders, push with your shoulders into the back of the chair. Tight, 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 tight. Hold it. Release. Take a deep breath in. Hold it. Now, tense all of the muscles in your right leg. Elevate your right leg off the floor. Point your toes towards your chest so that you feel that stretch behind your knee. Tight, 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 tight. Release. Drop your foot to the floor. Take a deep, natural breath. Left leg. Raise the left leg up off the floor. Point your toes towards your chest. Make it tight. Your thigh and your calf muscles. You can feel the pull. Tight, 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 tight. Release. Take a deep breath. Now, when you're ready, gently open your eyes and take a couple of deep breaths. Regularly practicing these relaxation muscular techniques, you will get so good at it that you'll feel tremendous relief. And it really, truly helps. How do you feel right now? Do you feel a little bit, do you feel relaxed? Does the muscle tension feel better? Now, visualization techniques, this really is a technique useful when you need to mentally get away and from a stressful situation. Some days, if I've gotten off of a stressful phone call or I'm having a stressful day, I have a great big picture in my home and I have a great big picture in my office, and it's of the ocean. And I look at that picture and I look at the picture and take a mental photograph of it. And then I close my eyes and I picture, I stop what I'm doing. I dim the lights in my house or in my office, sit comfortably in a chair with both feet on the floor, legs apart about hip width. Place your hands on your thighs, palms down. Close your eyes and take a couple of conscious, deep breaths. Envision a tranquil scene. This can be your favorite place, a fond memory, or an enjoyable activity, like being at the beach or perhaps being in the mountains. Consider all of the details of this scene. Envision the sound of the birds. Envision the ocean and the waves flowing onto the sand. The waves are rolling in and the waves are rolling out. The waves are rolling in and the waves are rolling out. You can feel the hot sun on your cheeks. You can hear the distant birds. You can smell the ocean and the sea. Stay in your place for 5 minutes, envisioning the birds, the soft wind on your hair, the warmth of the sun on your cheek. Envision the sound of the waves as the waves are rolling in and the waves are rolling out. The waves are rolling in and the waves are rolling out. Now take a deep breath. Hold it. Release. And now gently open your eyes and you can turn on the lights again. How does that make you feel? All righty. Now there's stretching exercises, and this can be done right at your chair at work. It's a wonderful way to reduce physical and mental tension. Stretches include gentle head rolls, rolling your shoulders, stretching your hands up above your head, flexing your feet one at a time, touching your toes, slowly arching your back, and then straightening out your spine. So let's just try that. First, we're going to do gentle head rolls. First one way and then the other way. Very good. Now we're going to try to include gentle rolling the shoulders back against the chair or against a wall if you're standing, and just roll your shoulders back. Let's do this 8 times. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do the left shoulder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now consider stretching your hands up high over your head. Stretch to the ceiling as high as you can reach. Hold that stretch and then release. Stretch your Hands up to the ceiling, high as you can reach, and relax. You can do this for 8 repetitions and then take deep breaths afterwards. You can now flex your feet, and you can do that either by standing up or trying to touch your toes, stretch your toes, make your toes point towards your chest, reach down and stretch to try to touch those toes, stretch, 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 hold it, and then relax. Let's do it with the left foot. Point the toes towards your chest, try to touch them with your arm, stretch, 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 relax. And then, of course, slowly arching your back, 1 vertebrae at a time against the back of the seat. Stretch, 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 stretch. And then relax. Stretch your vertebrae back against your chair, your head back, tight, 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 stretch. And then relax. Now, the next exercise, so we've done breathing techniques, remove yourself from a stressful situation, breathing techniques, relaxation techniques, we've done visualization, we've done stretching techniques. The last technique is called mindfulness. And stress is often caused by performing one task while simultaneously thinking of numerous other tasks or thought. It's called multitasking, and our brains don't like it. Being mindful means living in the present moment. Mindfulness improves concentration. It helps you to experience the fullness of every moment and prevents preoccupation with the past or the future. Mindfulness helps if you have constant thoughts of like a very past negative event, or perhaps a wrong that was done to you, and you have this mantra in your mind that pops up, and you've got to stop that. One woman in one of my classes said she always focused on her very difficult and troubled marriage. And it always occurred at night when she put her head on the pillow, and all of these negative thoughts would come back to her. So she would practice mindfulness. And the way she did it was that she had a special prayer that she always said. And the prayer, by the time she finished the prayer, she was already sliding off into sleep. So she focused on that one thought of the prayer in the here and now. But as soon this technique, mindfulness, and it takes a little practice, as soon as you are aware that you are worrying about other tasks and thoughts, stop what you're doing, take a couple of conscious, deep, natural breaths. 3, remember? You are easily and quickly bringing your thoughts back to the present because you're concentrating on the breathing. A good thing to do is that when you take that breath, make a sound like whoosh when you're blowing it out through pursed lips. Like a sigh. That's the one I use a lot at night, and it helps me to stop thinking about all of the things I have to do the next day. And it focuses on the breathing. That's mindfulness. You can also try a daily to-do list, which may help you to facilitate mindfulness. Set aside a time every day to plan your day. Prioritize your list initially and throughout the day as needed so that tasks are separated into more manageable units. I often make a list in the morning of all the things I have to accomplish that day. And as I accomplish them, I put a nice check mark. I get such a kick out of those check marks of everything I've done. Whenever you begin to lose focus or you start feeling overwhelmed again, I want you to simply stop what you're doing, take a deep breath, look over your list, and make necessary changes. Mindfulness can be difficult to achieve during the transition from home to work. In order to physically flip the switch at the end of the day, perform an activity that signals the transition from work to home. Examples include unwinding during your car ride home. Listen to your favorite soft music. If you bring work home, plan a time to do it and stick to it. I usually will say after dinner, I'll give the computer time 1 hour. That's it. The rest of the time is for my husband and for my family. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, you want to always stay in tune with your body and your mind and try to prevent and combat stress by recognizing those factors that contribute to it. If you feel you can no longer manage the stress on your own, contact that professional for help. If your employer offers an education and referral service, such as an employee assistance program, EAP, they may also help you to locate appropriate resources in your area. All right, everybody, I'm going to give you back the gift of time, and we're also going to open up the chat room now. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you, Dana, for a very, very, very insightful and a great insight on mindfulness presentation. So if anyone has any questions, you can put them in the Q&A box and we can read them to Ms. Rizzo. I just wanted to say briefly, one of my takeaways is empathy and forgiveness reduces stress. I love that.
Oh, it does.
Yes, yes, it does. Are there any questions? You can place them in the Q&A box. I just want to remind everyone that this video is recorded and we are going to send the slides out to everyone. Ms. Rizzo has been gracious enough to let us retain the slides to pass them along to you. And so if there are not any questions, I do want to say, if you had any questions further about this, you can always contact us here at the Turner Center at 734-998-9353. And again, thank you to everyone for spending time with us this morning. And thanks again to Ms. Rizzo. And we want to hear more in the future about you and Karen and your cooking stories.
Okay, you bet. And everybody have a wonderful Thanksgiving and winter holidays. Safe travels. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, Ms. Rizzo.
You bet.